Today, for the Safari Rally WRC, I'm actually talking to Tuta Mionki, and I'm actually hosting you in Machakos. You know, I come from this area.
Okay,
and I'm sure you used to come here as a fan,
Yes.
just to spectate, and
Yes.
that is where you started your career.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what we'll be talking about. She'll tell me all about her career in motorsports as we head to the WRC, where we have few women, but please bank on them. They're going to give us good results, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, so I'll be talking to her later.
All right, let me get into the car.
She will be among the 4 women that will be carrying the national flag in the WRC Safari Rally.
I think first I can say it's God. It's a blessing. Because like I said, we started and we were many when we started off. And I really can't say that maybe I put in more effort than others, or I really enjoy it and I put in effort because there's practice and you have to create time. And being an amateur sport, then you're basically sometimes almost taking time out of your work to do practice, to go for a weekend of racing. This would be a whole week of racing. But it's exciting, but I wish to have more women, you know, like I need more women to work with. Yeah, so I would wish that we get more women come back into the sport so that it's not just one person. And I also would want to have women more competitive so that it's not best woman, best, you know, as in the best driver for this rally was a lady, not just the best female was a lady. So hopefully we can achieve that.
The renowned female navigator has come a long way since she cut her teeth in the motorsport.
I started racing in 2012. I joined as first I started following rallies as a fan. You know, those of us who grew up those days of watching the WRC, I think that thing doesn't leave. It stays in you until you find an opportunity. Like for me as an adult, much older after school. So I started following it, and with a few friends of mine, we decided the best way to see Kenya is to follow the rallies through the different counties. So that's what we used to do. And one day I just wondered loudly, why can't I do this, you know, because they seem to be having more fun than we are having. Spectating is fun, but I thought the drivers were having more fun. I wandered loudly around Eric Bengi. So he said he also has been dreaming of doing it. And he bought a rally raid car, those 4x4s. We did that in 2011, but felt that's not what we were looking for. We were looking for a faster event, a faster car. So I went to Abdul Sidi Rally Academy. I was introduced to Abdul by Charles Singer. Charles Singer is a family friend from way back, and he was driving, and of course I was in awe, like somebody you actually know is driving, you know, in a rally car. So introduced me to Abdul, went for classes, the whole of 2011, a bit of 2012. Then Abdul introduced me to my first driver, Victor Okundi. I like saying this because we were the first people to drive. The Yaris you see today was a Vitz back then. And we were the first people to drive a Vitz in a rally. And we did that in 2012 and 2013. I drove with Victor Okundi in the Vitz, and then took a break. He was taking a break as well. And in 2014, I was called up by Murage Waigo. He was a new driver. I had a bit of experience, so I think it always works. When one person has a bit of experience, you need a bit of guidance in the car. I'd learned a lot from Victor because Victor had switched from a co-driver seat to a driver seat. So he patiently taught me what I didn't learn in Abdul's class, and that's the practical element of co-driving in the car. In 2015, I did the rally with Murage as well, and glad to say that year we were awarded the Lochab Award. We were driving for cancer awareness, and a part of that reason is why we got awarded for the Lochab Award. I also won the Division 3 co-driver award. That was my first championship. 2016, we linked up with Bengi again. This time he'd gotten a Runex, a two-wheel drive car. And the same year we won the two-wheel drive championship. So it was a very exciting year. What was more exciting is that our two-wheel would beat four-wheel drive cars. So we really, really enjoyed that, and also managed to get sponsorship from Enengai, and then switched to Subaru, now in the Group N category.
She was the second woman to be crowned the Motorsports Personality of the Year in 2018 after an outstanding run.
We did that 2017, 2018 was our best year, even for me my best year yet, with winning Group N Division 1, and was also named the Motorsport Personality of the Year that year. So 2018, if you ask me, is still way up there, as one of my highlights. Then 2019, I think we did a bit of rallying. We went to Zambia, which is some good experience. I'd done Rwanda and Uganda before, so these experiences add up, get to learn, compete with some of the best drivers in Africa.
Tuta has navigated many drivers with successful results and teamed up with Nzioka Waita to another successful outing in the ARC Equator Rally, where they finished 10th in the grueling event.
He's very talented, a lot of skill. I've competed against him before. I remember in 2013, I think they came one position behind us. Then I did safari with Steve Kashoro, also in 2015, and it always feels good to beat him because I know he's very good. So now with him, we've gelled pretty quickly. We've done a few tests here and there, so I'm really enjoying the drive so far. Yes, it was tricky because some sections, when we wrecked it, some sections were dry. Of course, with experience, you know that depending on the weather pattern, you know that if it rains, this is what to expect. So we have a lot of maybes in our notes. If it rains, maybe wet, maybe a mud hole. If it's dry, it's something else. I think we drove pretty well in the wet sections, which I enjoy wet rallies. I think they make a very huge difference. If you get a driver who understands or who knows how to drive in a wet rally, it's really enjoyable. We had an issue with the car and we had to do Rally 2. And actually really enjoyed the whole experience. It was a very good experience. We are repeating some of the sections in the safari.
The Equator Rally did test the navigator skills to the limit, and certainly the same will be experienced in the WRC Safari Rally.
It's very interesting because the terrain is quite different, but we have what we call the navigator sections, a lot of the very tight and twisty. Your notes really have to be on point, but it all starts with recce. If you do a good recce, get your notes correctly, then reading back the notes, you've already done, if you ask me, 90% of the work during recce. So it really is a navigator's event. You really have to be on point, like 100%. Yeah.
So what does the World Rally Championship mean for Tuta?
I think for me, just having the WRC in the country is maybe reminiscent of, I remember during the Cricket World Cup, ICC, I think it was in 2003, because I remember taking a day off work to go and watch it. And the international, the under-20 athletics, such big events already create a different kind of atmosphere in the country. So that's the first thing. But then having watched it and now being part of it is different, so different. It's very exciting for me. Most of us are new to it. Of course, we don't expect, it's not the days of Ian Duncan driving the Toyota Celicas like the drivers from Europe. It's different because they're driving WRC cars. The WRC cars are very different from the cars we drive. So I think it would be crazy to think that you're going to beat them or to go and compete with them. We want to run our own race. Of course, we're in the national class, we're in a certain class, so those are the people we'll be competing with. Those are the people we'll be competing with, not with the WRC cars. But we've seen from the WRC event, like the last one in Italy, Sardinia, I think only 4 WRC cars finished the event without dropping off. So anything is possible. Anything is possible. You just take your time and drive your race. I've found from maybe the 9 years that I've been racing that sometimes it pays off to just drive your race and drive faster in the second loop than you did in the first. You've learned something from that first experience. Just keep driving your race and you find yourself doing very well.
She's however saddened by the fact that many women are shying away from the sport unlike before, mostly due to sponsorship issues, but is working behind the scene in an FIA initiative to make sure more women come on board and participate in the motorsports.
It's a bit sad. When I started out in 2012, it would be about 13, 15 ladies in any given event. That number has really dropped, and we are working very hard as Women in Motorsport. We have an association called Women in Motorsport Kenya, which is FIA affiliated, WIM FIA affiliated. So we want to see maybe after this, because we wanted to start programs, but then due to COVID, that was kind of stopped like everything else. So we want to see how we can encourage more girls, more women. I think a lot of my former navigator colleagues are now in organization, but if you asked them, they would rather be in a car, So if we can find a lot of sponsorship, and that's what I hope WRC does, that it actually brings out more corporates to sponsor teams. And I think we can already see that with some of the guys like Betika who've come in, the Young FIA Star program. So hopefully we are able to squeeze ourselves into that kind of sponsorship for the young girls, whether they start with karting or autocross, but nurture them to get to a point where hopefully WRC continues coming back to Kenya, that they're able to enjoy what we'll enjoy at the end of this month. Yeah.
Tuta Mionki is certainly an inspiration for women to come out of their closet and push their boundaries.
Just to encourage the Kenyans, the rally fans, to come and watch, but watch responsibly. We are hoping to create a good name for this event. We know part of the reason why it was taken away in 2002 was safety issues, and we don't want that to happen. So hopefully we can have this come back year after year. So Kenyans watch responsibly.